A good morning to you. This is the morning call. I'm Hanan Fejani, broadcasting live from Congo.
And a warm welcome to this broadcast. It's a brand new week. My name is Robert Kodingo. Welcome to the morning call. Top on our broadcast today, African passport for heads of states finally launched at the 27th summit of the African Union as talks about renewed violence in South Sudan dominate discussions.
AIDS eradication by 2030, it's the objective announced by the United Nations. Thousands of people took to the streets of Durban to put pressure on the participants during the international conference. We have the exclusive interview with the UNAIDS Executive Director.
On this bulletin, we have Guinea-Bissau, where the Supreme Court upheld the nomination of Prime Minister Bashiro Ja, who was appointed by President Jose Mario Vaz in a controversial deal. We have those details on our news bulletin later.
And Egypt Air to revamp its fleet. The airline, recently affected by a jetliner crash, is set to receive 9 Boeing 737-800s, valued at $864 million. Details in the business segment.
Well, thank you very much for joining us where you're watching the morning call on Africanews. While the concept of unrestricted movement of goods, persons and services across the continent is not a new concept, an African passport was first issued yesterday to President Paul Kagame of Rwanda and Idris Deby, the chairperson of the African Union and President of Chad, as the first step to implement this concept at the 27th summit of the African Union in Rwanda, Kigali. Now, the conversation around the new spate of violence in South Sudan also dominated discussions at the summit, as a ceasefire described as very shaky still holds since last Monday.
Well, Robert, it's still just a symbol at the moment. But according to the Commission chairperson, Dlamini Zuma, the passport will allow free movement of people on the continent. Countries like Ghana, Rwanda, Mauritius and Seychelles already took measures to facilitate obtaining visas to its nationals. The African Union has also announced that one will not need a visa when traveling to any of the 54 countries by the year 2020. Celine Antobon with more details.
The African passport was finally launched on Sunday and the first 2 copies issued at the 27th African Union Summit in the Rwandan capital, Kigali. Chadian President Idris Deby and Rwandan President Paul Kagame were the first to receive the passports from the outgoing chairperson of the AU, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, a move much applauded by member states.
It is with great honor that we today report on a task given to us to ensure that we move closer to the goal of free movement of the people of Africa within the continent.
The continent has set a deadline for achieving the free circulation of the passport by the year 2020. For now, only heads of states, foreign ministers and officials of the AU in particular are entitled to this document. Dr. Dlamini Zuma, however, called on African countries to agree to issue the passport to their nationals in accordance with their procedures.
Now, Liz Vaudran is a journalist and an analyst, and we spoke to her in Kigali, Rwanda, and asked her what are the key outcomes of the 27th Summit of the African Union. Listen to her response.
Yes, I think the major outcome that has been announced is the decision by heads of state to self-finance the AU through a levy of imports 0.2%. It's a very interesting decision, and everybody here, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, the AU Commission chairperson, Idris Deby, the current AU chair, has hailed it as a historic decision for the AU, that finally the AU will now become self-funded. Well, as observers and analysts, one should be, I think have a wait-and-see attitude, because the announcement by the Rwandan Minister of Finance actually was that $1.2 billion will be gathered and through these levies directly for financing the AU and the AU operations. Now, the AU budget for next year is something like $780 million. So that would be far beyond what the AU actually wants.
Now, from the AU being self-funded, is there a timeline for the rollout of these African passports?
In one of the discussions, the deadline for 2020 was mentioned, that all African countries should now use the African passport. But as you know, I mean, immigration issues at this stage are decided upon by member states, sovereign states. They decide what kind of immigration policy they are going to adopt. And so it remains to be seen once again. The African passport was handed over today by Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma to Idris Deby, and there was a big ceremony. It's largely symbolic at this stage because heads of state, in any case, I don't think they really use their passports when they travel much, or they don't.
That was Lise Lou Vautrin in Kigali.